Greetings and welcome to the latest episode of Preserve the 80s. I come to you today from Jimmy John's in Orange, Connecticut. And in case you're wondering, no, I have not joined the neckbeard way of life. My razor is out. The battery needs to be charged, and I haven't gotten around to it in the past couple of days, but the facial hair situation will be addressed. That being said, this is a rare day off. I don't tend to get too many days off where I don't need to do other things, and I'm also not as broke as I usually am at the moment, so that enabled me to go to Jimmy John's. In Connecticut, we have a severe dearth of sub chains. There's Subway, which has just completely gone to hell. I mean, their food is barely edible, and they've made this claim that they've reinvented themselves, but I went there earlier this week. They did not freshly slice the meats. The meats were as stale and wrapped and pre-sliced as ever. The sub that I got tasted absolutely horrible. The bread was semi-liquid. The meat tasted like cheese, and if you know how much I hate cheese, you can understand I was not a happy camper. And they also have this new line of, I forgot if it's 20 or 30 subs that they're promoting as their all-star line or something like that, but it's just like the other place, Jersey Mike's. You walk in there and you look online and there's all these subs in the menu, but you get there and they only make maybe 3 or 4 of them. And Jersey Mike's I'm also not a fan of because their subs are tiny, they're really not that good, and they're extremely expensive. They are better than Subway, but that's a pretty low bar to clear these days. So I'm pretty excited to have another sub chain in the state now, which is Jimmy John's. Well, we have DeBella subs too, which I need to make a review of one day because they are very good. We only have 2 in the state right now. There's one in Orange, which is where I am right now, and there's one in Stamford, I think, Stamford or Greenwich, which is pretty far away from me. Even Orange is kind of on the opposite side of the state from where I live, but I didn't mind taking the drive. I only got 1 sub, and it's fairly small, because after I leave here, I'll be making a visit to Crown Burger, which is a few towns over, and shooting a video there as well. I went to Jimmy John's once before. It was in 2013, during a brief stint I had as a student at a Code Academy place in Chicago. I did not do very well there. I'm not somebody who is talented at coding or programming or any of that. By the time I left there, my GPA was 20 out of 100. Yet despite that, I was a class valedictorian since I was the only person in the class. The look of Jimmy John's seems to be about the same as it was back then. No huge difference. Subs seem to be about what they were. I got a BLT sub at the time that I went. It was okay, it didn't wow me, it didn't disappoint me. It was a straight C student. This is their, I think they called it the Italian nightclub or something like that. Right away I'm a bit disheartened because, as you can see, they cut the bread this way instead of taking a wedge out of the top. When it's done like this, it makes them easier to give you far fewer meats, far fewer vegetables, and so forth. See all this space here that's just kind of empty bread, whereas if they had taken the chunk out from the top, they could have put the meat in there flat and the vegetables on top. You could fit a lot more. That's how it used to be done. But in these days of Bidenomics, well, actually, it's been this way since about the late 90s maybe, but I dislike Biden, so I'll blame Bidenomics anyway. These are the types of cuts we get. Looks like there's lots of lettuce on there. I don't see. Oh, they put the tomatoes. Oh, for fuck's sake. They put mayonnaise on an Italian sub. You don't do that. Mayonnaise should never, 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 under any circumstance, touch Italian food. Now, I don't hate mayonnaise like some people do. There is a time and a place for it, but not on Italian food. Never on salami, never on a sub. Hope they gave me some napkins. Thankfully they did. I cannot believe this. Well, I guess they put it on the top side too. It's problematic. On the menu, they stated it would be oil and vinegar. They did not say anything about there being mayonnaise on there. But I guess I'm as much to blame as anybody because I was there as I made the sandwich, so if I had been more on my toes, I would have caught that error. So my expectations are pretty low right now, but maybe that's a good place to start out because things can only go up from here, right? It's okay. I mean, I got the regular. They only had two sizes. I believe it was regular and gigantic or something like that. The gigantic one was $16, so I was not about to spend my money on that, especially when I have another review coming up right after this one. The bread is alright. It's better than Subway's bread. Better than Jersey Mike's, not as good as DiBella. The meat is fair. The mayonnaise is really negatively affecting the taste of this. I couldn't really get it all out. That's just bad. Got myself a little Christmas present, a case of Mr. Pibb. I know it's called Pibb Extra now, but to me it will always be Mr. Pibb. It's what Dr. Pepper could have been if it hadn't been snobby and it took the trade school route instead. I only have a small amount of Italian ancestry. I'm not very Italian, but I'm Italian enough to be offended by mayonnaise touching salami or capicola. It shouldn't be done. So I'm just gonna put this sub away for now. Perhaps my wife will enjoy the leftovers of that sub. She is primarily of Polish origin, so she doesn't really understand the rules of mayonnaise and meat. But I did also pick up this peppermint chocolate cookie, so we'll see if dessert might be good. Smells pretty good. not very fresh. It's dry, it's crumbly, and I normally do not complain this much about restaurants. Usually I'm pretty impressed with the fast food that I buy. Jimmy John's did not do it for me. I walked away unimpressed in 2013 when I had the BLT sub. This one's far worse. If it had not been for the mayonnaise, it would have been edible. But the low amount of meat and the scant toppings, reminiscent of Subway. The bread is just barely a notch above Subway's bread. And overall, very disappointing experience and not worth the drive. There is a Haven Hot Chicken right next door, another chain I haven't been to yet, but they're going to be opening one of those in my town sometime within the next month, so I'm going to wait until there's one nearby for that. I can eat it in the comfort of my own home. So I will close things up here, and I will drive about 7-8 miles eastward to Crown Burger, and we will pick things up there. Farewell.